Hey everybody. I wanted to connect and share with you some thoughts about a topic that is really, really important to me and is actually like the quintessential expression of storytelling, but not for your clients, but for you. So, in conversation with a another student, I had asked about what the IMC's program position was on the portfolio, a professional portfolio. And I was dismayed to learn that there, at least according to this person, that there wasn't a lot of emphasis on developing a portfolio of work for the purposes of interviewing and showing off the goods, what you got, your talent, your skills, your capabilities. And I thought it would make for a good conversation, and to give you some feedback on what I've done in the past and what I look for as an employer, and ultimately how you can take some of this knowledge, some of this learning, and apply it to what you're doing. So, first off, I'll say that never before, in the marketing, design, communications worlds have we seen this blending, of disciplines. So if you look at, imagine, if you will, the Venn diagram, you got marketing, design, communications. It's like there's that little tiny portion where they all intersect, and that's sort of where many employers want you to be. All right. They are looking for the magical unicorn that can write, design, code, do video, do social, really conceivably whatever they want, they're looking for you to be able to do. And so this applies to IMC candidates such as yourselves, but it also applies to, undergraduate designers or comms people or marketers in the business programs. It's really sort of the expectation. I wouldn't say it's the rule or the expectation, but there is a growing need for unicorns in professional marketing, communications, and design. If you have the skills, talents, and capabilities to be able to perform adequately in all of those three different disciplines, then you may find yourself in a position where you're going to be more sought after. You may be scouted, recruited into a program or a company. You may find yourself to be more competitive in the marketplace because marketing, communications, design, IMC is competitive. If you do not think it is, please readjust your thinking on that because it is competitive. Okay. Um, and one of the things that is going to position you in that competitive realm is the portfolio. Your ability to express your professional story, the talents, skills, capabilities, the potential that you have needs to be told through the lens of a portfolio. The things that you make are inherently visual, even if you are not literally designing them. You may be writing an article. Well, that article is going to be expressed visually in a web page or a magazine, social media. You're writing that content, you pair it with an image in a visual media. Okay. Um, Advertising, the ad copy, the taglines that you're writing will manifest in a combination of design and imagery, and you'll see that everywhere. So the things that you're making will ultimately result in a visual outcome, even if you are not the person designing that visual outcome. All right. So please be aware that you have an opportunity to show how your piece of the puzzle, all right, your part of the overall whole manifests in something visual, and you should be showing that off. Okay. Um, if you're not, you're putting yourself at a real disadvantage. Okay. So I don't want any of you to graduate from here and then, start applying for jobs and then feel disillusioned that maybe you're not getting interviews, or maybe you do get interviews and you show up to the interview with a sheet of paper, your resume, and that's it. do not show up with just that. Do not show up empty-handed, okay? Build yourself a website, put the pictures of the work that you've designed on there, feature your work however you can, all right? You have an opportunity and a responsibility to yourself to show off your capabilities, how good you are, okay? If you show up to an interview with a portfolio, maybe you'll be able to use it in that scenario. Maybe you won't. Um, if you are able to, great. Then you're going to be able to tell your professional story, your experiences, your skills, everything that you've learned that makes you primed and ready for the position that you're applying for without having to actually say a whole lot of words. Storytelling in this case does not need to be an entirely audible or vocal experience. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, and sometimes you need to let your work speak for itself. All right. The other thing is maybe you bring the portfolio with you, but you're not able to use it for whatever reason. Make a version of your portfolio that you can leave with the employer. Go to FedEx office, get a couple copies of it printed out, make sure it's a professional representation. It's got like a nice cover to it. Maybe it's bound with screw and posts, not staples, and leave it with the employer. As they're shuffling through their resumes, as they're going through their interviews, think about the people that they like for a position. And let's say you're one of them. How are you going to differentiate yourself from those other people? The portfolio. You leaving your work behind with them communicates so much about your confidence and your ability to complete the work at a high level, but it also shows the immersive depth and the breadth of your considerations. All right. So when they see like, wow, this person, they have a great resume, they have an amazing portfolio, they told an amazing story. I'm really intrigued by them. They're a people person. They're very articulate and communicative. They'll apply all of that to our clientele. I could see this person being a great account rep. I could see this person working with internal staff to teach them how to do certain things because of all the skills they bring to the table, exemplified through their portfolio. It communicates potential, problem solving potential. You can creep ever closer to that status of being a unicorn. All right. And if an employer is really blown away by your cumulative skills, capabilities, experiences as told through the lens of your portfolio and your interview, that means you've got negotiation power. Maybe some of you just need a job, you need to get out of your present job, whatever. That curbs your negotiation power. But if they see high quality candidate that creeps ever closer, that hews closely to that unicorn status, now you can ask for more money. Say like, hey, I can do all of these things. My time is incredibly valuable. So too is my skill potential. If you think I'm overskilled for the position now, wait till I get in the job and really determine what is needed in order to thrive in this position. And you're going to see that skill growth in leaps and bounds, not tiny increments. Okay. The portfolio is your story. You want the portfolio to tell your story when you are not present. Okay. That leave behind, take away portfolio, it needs to tell the story that you can when you are able. Okay. Just not when you're available. Okay. So an employer interviews you, they have a great experience, the same experience that they have in that interview, I want them to have in a portfolio that you design and prepare and leave with them. You never know. You leave that portfolio with them and you don't get the job for whatever reason. Maybe someone else gets the job, but that candidate falls through. They're going to call you. Maybe that candidate sticks and they're there for a few years, but they've changed the scope of their products, their services, their communications departments, and they still have that portfolio that you gave them several years earlier. They give you a call. Okay. They will remember that. I have hired people myself based on the portfolio alone. And in some cases, they've been people I've passed on initially. Um, this also gives you an opportunity to say like, hey, you remember when I interviewed and gave you my portfolio? Well, I appreciate your time and it was great, but I just want to let you know that I've updated that portfolio. Here you go. And in that portfolio contains all new skills and projects and experiences that maybe they need. So maybe they don't hire you for that full-time position, but maybe they outsource work to you. Maybe they hire you as a freelancer. Regardless, the value you get is in building the best possible representation of you and your work that you possibly can. The portfolio never ends. It is ongoing. It is timeless. It is persistent. I will be editing my portfolio when I'm 59 years old, when I'm 72, even if I'm not working anymore, because that portfolio for me represents an entire body of work. It's a legacy for me that I hold dear. I spend every minute of my life, at least my working life, trying to be the best possible creative that I can be. And that's my journey, and yours may be different, but I take a great swell of pride in making sure that my portfolio is as good as I can make it. Okay. And I want to show you two portfolios that I've used. Both of these portfolios have given me many jobs. Okay. They are winning portfolios. I will say that I don't expect any of you to have incredibly high design skills necessarily. Some of you are designers. Um, I would recommend designing your portfolio regardless. There are templates that you can download in PowerPoint, in other programs. You can hire it out. Have a designer make your portfolio for you. You can learn new skills and make it yourself. And then that skill development is a part of your professional story. There are any number of different ways to go about this. Okay. But I want you to consider the value of designing your portfolio, even if it's just a collection of 8.5 by 11 sheets in a nice little presentation. Fine. You make it at FedEx office, no problem. Just make sure it's professional and it tells your story. So let's take a look at a couple of the portfolios that I have. Okay, so the first one here, this one is really, really old. Okay, but it's designed to fit a tabloid format. So the page width is 17 inches by 11 tall, and it uses a screw and post mounting solution. Excuse me. So you'll notice that I've got large black type, very clean, very contemporary, minimalist, solid colors. Color makes a huge difference when trying to stand out. Okay. My work, each project opens with a preamble, description. What's the project title? What's the media that was used? So this is CS4. So this is going back a long time. Adobe Creative Suite, CS4. What's the research criteria? Target audience. Tell me about these projects that you're doing to ground them in context so I know that they are successful. What's the concept? And then what is the solution breakdown? Create an appealing design using intrinsically connected typography, layout, photography, and color. Paper is a 70-pound glossy stock used to accommodate quick, easy reading. Emphasize use of photography regarding the main subject. So yeah, I got to interview Spock from the Star Trek movies, which is pretty cool. So as you move down, you can see the magazine in context. Show your work in as much true context as you can. Okay. Don't just show me a layout. Show me what it looks like in reality. Okay. That is what makes the difference. So here's the website. As you move down, Underground Cafe. This was a product I developed and won an award for in 2005. Booklets for higher ed. Foster Cat, some of you are very familiar with this one already. The website. book cover redesigns. I redesigned 25 library books from a university library, books on graphic design. Logos, won a bunch of awards for these. Heinz ketchup typeface. I literally made a typeset out of ketchup. Expressive typography using poetry. Book design. So you don't have to get really articulate and detailed in your portfolio. Just let the work speak for itself if you can help it. Another book I made won a design award. Even showing some like behind the scenes of how the thing was made is really, really useful. And it shows more about your creative process and how you think. So aside from, being a magical unicorn that has all of these different skills and capabilities, the other thing that you need to consider is how you solve problems, how you think. What is your creative process? You think completely different from everyone else on this planet. What makes your problem-solving process better than your competitors? Is it the level of detail, the immersive research? Is it the breadth of consideration and insight? I don't know. Your journey is different from mine, okay? But nevertheless, you've got plenty of options on how to articulate that. Here's some behind the scenes work, website work, logos, product design, true to life mock-ups, more logos. And so that was a portfolio I used way back when to get teaching jobs, and that was very, very successful for me and continues to be until this day. But I no longer use this portfolio, but I do use it as a supplemental portfolio. So let's say, for example, I apply for a job and I get an interview. I'm going to show my most recent portfolio, which I'll show you in a moment. And if the conversation's going really well, and it seems like the employer, the interviewer doesn't want to end the interview, which is a great sign, and the interview is like, half hour long, see if you can extend that out. The longer that you spend with an interviewer, generally the better. Okay. So they may get through the first portfolio, the most recent one, and say like, wow, this is really good. Then you can say, well, if you happen to have the time, I have a supplemental portfolio with additional work if you would like to take a look at it. And ideally that elongates the conversation, the experience that you're having, and ideally helps sell you better and makes you more impressive that not only did you consider bringing a portfolio with you, but you had the foresight to bring a second one with you just in case the interview was going incredibly well. All right. So this is a very old portfolio that I made. Okay. And it has work from really, most of this work is pre-2011. In fact, all of it is pre-2011. So this portfolio is well over a decade old. So let me show you the one that I'm using now. All right, you'll notice that the colors changed. Now, I've been using this to interview for jobs at the University of Pittsburgh, and this was successful in getting me my most recent and current position. So you can see I still took the same approach by describing the project, showing some real life contextual mock-ups, social media pieces. But my approach to my work now is if it's successful for the problems at hand, great, but I also want to see it be peer reviewed. So I submit my work to a lot of competitions, and sometimes I win. And I put that in there to say like, yeah, I won a design award for this website, and it was by this organization. I encourage you all to, submit your work to AdFlux, but also to submit it to competitions in general, especially if you think it's a contender. Because not only is it a great feeling and reinforcement of high quality work, but winning awards helps sell your talents and capabilities. So Pitt Business Backstory won 2 awards. There's some information here, about the context of it. Great. Moving forward, campus marketing, some, unique work, some work that isn't truly unique, but is at least representative of progress and visually interesting. I really want this holiday sweater. So, like I said, I'm applying for Pitt jobs or applied for Pitt jobs. So my portfolio is very Pitt heavy at the front end of it. The first half is very Pitt heavy. Um, and then like there's an ad campaign I created. And then after that, we get into some of the other types of work that I've done. So the City of You campaign won a bunch of awards, and that's great. Highly dynamic, very visual, very personally driven. True context. There's the mayor of Youngstown with my artwork behind him. There's some freestanding banners, light projection, people wearing t-shirts. You want to show your work in as much context as possible because it proves that it's real. That's not to say that the work that you feature in your portfolio isn't real, but that context is evidence. So here's digital billboards, a printed billboard, some logo design, and this is a pitch document for the logo, which this organization is still using to this day. Another award winner, some cool work from like the mid 2000s. Special Olympics, high value, highly regarded brands in my portfolio, even though this work is like not that much to write home about, at least in my opinion. Um, it was great to be able to work with Special Olympics. More logos. I do a lot of branding work. Can't tell. Website redesign, my podcast, my research website on higher ed branding. And so this whole portfolio demonstrates my capabilities, my skills, my interests, everything. And I've gotten 3 jobs, well, 2 jobs with this portfolio. The portfolio I got my first job at Pitt was a different one. Nevertheless, this portfolio did get me like 6 different job interviews. Okay. So that's an example of my most current portfolio. Now, I will make these files available to you for your consumption to take a look at your convenience. And I want to put an offer out there. So I know that the portfolio design and construction is not necessarily something that you may have the time for in this program, but I would encourage you to explore this potential opportunity outside of class. And I would be more than happy to help you design your portfolio, review the work that you've done, and really optimize your work for the purposes of the portfolio. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me with that in mind during class, after the semester's over, next semester, 10 years from now, it doesn't really matter. You're my people, and I want to support you and help you thrive in your careers. So that said, I hope you enjoyed this little walk through Portfolio Land. Please take this particular lesson very seriously and explore making your portfolio in the best possible way that you can. And reach out to me if you have any questions or need a review. See ya.